Greetings and welcome to 5 Play Friday Live. We are live from the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area, and we are getting going. As usual, chaos in the morning here as we prepare for the show. Pardon for the delay. Let me turn that down just a touch. Who knows what I have going on here today? I'm ready for coffee. Oh boy. Ooh, that's good. That's very good. Okay. All right. It's 5 Play Friday. We are going to look at plays. We got some great plays to review and get better. And we're looking for all the things. That's the thing about video. It's so rich, right? There's so much there. Like we're mining the mother lode, right? To find all the things, which reminds me of a fantastic movie, Treasure of the Sierra Madre, right? Where this trio of gets thrust together and goes on this journey to gain riches and etc. Of course, the three-person element mirrors some things. They have optimism. They go into their adventure, and then suddenly there's rifts and breakdowns, etc. Not that there's any parallel between Treasure of the Sierra Madre and possibly a crew working a ball game. But it's a fantastic movie. Black and white splendor. All right. In the house, Gary Mouton from Humboldt, Texas. Good to see you, Gary. And Zachary. I saw that comment on the mic'd up official video that you'd watched it like 10 times and you always get something new out of it. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And that's the thing about watching video is there's always more there that we didn't perceive before, right? That's why we appreciate it. Jacob Krause in the house. Hey, that rhymes. Mark Harvey. Excellent. From Lexington, Kentucky. Wait, is that the bourbon capital? I forget. Dr. Phil is in the house. Clip contributor Jason Hayes. He has multiple clips in this week's episode. Good to see you, Jason. We will be breaking down all of the things. The Zooch is jumping in. Stan Bickler in the house from Pittsburgh. Uh-oh. Oh, my good. Dave Krieg, schools and games canceled today due to 10 inches of snow in southern Minnesota. Minnesota is in it. I assume most people, less, have a game scheduled tonight. It is a Friday. It is basketball season. Hopefully, there's no cancellations if you do have one. Actually, I had a game scheduled for tonight, and it was canceled due to a problem with the gym. So I'm going to enjoy the day off myself. Opening night. Okay. All right. Excellent. Go get some, Stan. That's fantastic. Les has been going in Chicago. In Texas, they've been going for a bit, as I recall. Aaron Bender jumping in from Wisconsin. Excellent. Excellent. Hey, Tony Dye is in the house. Good to see you, Tony. That's fantastic. Uh-oh. From north of the border, John Bonnell. Bonnell? I'm going with that. You let me know if I'm wrong. Newfoundland. Oh, my gosh. What's the weather like up there this time of year? Andre Stevenson. Phoenix City, Alabama. Excellent. Awesome. Mike Goodwin is in the house. I'm sure it's they've reached their peak temperature for the day, somewhere right around 0 in Fairbanks, Alaska. I will sip the hot coffee thinking of you, Mike, and Minnesota as well. Darwin Sonata. Good morning from Michigan. Go Blue, I believe, is the appropriate response. Well, so one of the things about the 5 Play Friday is we like to curate the video, right? So we today we're doing submitted clips. So the clips are submitted in a certain format, and we try to, we could just drop the clip into the show and go with that, and then everybody's too small or everything's shifted to the right, etc. If we edit the clips down, then we can produce a better format. So my editing process, dealing with some submitted clips this morning, was a little sluggish. A little sluggish. We have to have me and my tech team, Oliver and Gus. Uh, we face challenges. You got to have a diverse set of skills, to pull this thing off. Oh, there it is. There it is. +8. You guys are out like shirtless, laying down on the chaise lounge in the backyard at that high temperature for Fairbanks. Yeah, yeah. DOG. It's a team warning for delay, right? The entire team accepts that. We recognize that, right? It's just part of the game. Uh-oh. Andrew, I am not familiar with this ending. I'll look to maybe clip that for next week's show. Mark Harvey's getting busy in Kentucky. Pittsburgh doubling up. Exactly, Mike. Exactly. We don't need no stinking badges. Just a fantastic movie. Vic Horton jumping in from Sacramento area, local here in California. Chris Janish, good morning. On pause due to snow. Boy, oh boy, that's like for probably a significant portion of the country. That's a thing where we've got games scheduled and then we get the word that they are postponed due to snow or extreme conditions. Here in the mild climate of California, that is not a thing. So, it's just, unfortunate. But I guess we'll make up the games in the end. Andrew's asking about a player on the floor holding a basketball, and when are they deemed to have committed a traveling violation? A player on the floor holding the basketball is not allowed to roll over. What is the definition of roll over? There is none. So it becomes an official's judgment. Some officials say, okay, if a player goes from here and then goes to their other side, sort of shifts maybe 90 degrees from here to get away from somebody trying to compete for the basketball, that's considered rolling over. I would say, me personally, I have a very liberal view, right? Like if I ask my tech team member Gus to roll over, I expect him to go fully over or at least halfway over, right? So the rule is a player may not roll over. The definition of roll over is undefined. So Andrew, it becomes official's judgment on that. So when we have that player oscillating maybe from one cheek to the other in a sitting position, I would define that as not illegal. And obviously if they did attempt to stand, no, the rule is attempt to get up, right? That would be a violation. All right, Damien jumping in from Southwest Florida. I saw Gregory Handy jumping in from Fairbanks, enjoying that +8 degree weather. It's going on. Darwin and Andrew, I think that's a reference to Michigan State. I think. Sparty? I don't know. Oh. Wyoming struggling with winter weather as well. LL Bodie from Phoenix. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Paul Sullivan, show supporter. Paul Sullivan. Thank you, Paul. The outreach is the far outreach. How's the weather out there, Paul? Concord is right next to where I live here in the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area, where we are enjoying relatively cold weather this morning. I think we were in the 30s, which in this part of the Bay Area, right? The closer you are to the water in the Bay Area, the more consistent the temperature is. Out here, a little bit over the hills, a little bit, we can get more extreme on the cold and on the hot. All right, Patrick Whitson jumping in. We got a great crew on board. Mark Asmussen, Coach yelling at me last night saying the inbounder traveled. He traveled. Yeah, that's one of the fundamentals, Coach. One of the 20. Right? Maybe you don't read the rules book, but learn the fundamentals, right? I appreciate you, Andrew. Thanks for joining on. Darwin's got one butt cheek to the other. Wait, is that from you to me or no? Legal. Like I say, personally, for me, rolling over has to be almost an extreme act. Now, at the same time, right, as officials, we get into situations, right? We're in the game, and sometimes there's a situation in the game, and there's an exit strategy for us. There's a simple solution to what we have, right? When we have two players on the floor competing for the basketball, we're going to have a really quick whistle, right? Because players on the floor competing for the basketball, right, we can have issues arising from that. So down on the floor competing for the basketball, quick whistle. Standing competing for the ball, like they both potentially have hands on the ball, maybe a more patient whistle, because one of those players is going to be able to extract the ball, and we're not going to have that situation where players are jumping on, etc. Right? So sometimes, right, and it's a judgment call, but sometimes the situation presents a simple solution, and we may come up with a traveling violation, right? We have a spectrum there, I'd say. And we could go for purity. No, it's like they did not travel. They didn't do enough. But it's always in our back pocket, an exit strategy out of a potentially tricky situation. And, of course, Patrick, if they're dribbling, they could do all sorts. They could do the break dancing, where they're, on one hand. Oh, that would be – that's something that the break dancers have to incorporate into is like basketball dribbling while, spinning on their back, etc., like bounce the ball, spin, bounce the ball, spin. Oh, come on now. Yeah. And like we've mentioned, we often see incredible feats when players are on the floor. They do something super athletic to get up, the smarts to start their dribble before they do, etc. And that's always really super impressive. Oh, boy. So John up in Newfoundland, unsportsmanlike foul with an arm grab on the dribbler. It was also the fifth foul, and put them in the bonus. Okay, right. So, John, we potentially have a situation where we have a foul on its live ball, and we have a foul, and we're going to consider that. When you say unsportsmanlike, I assume that may be FIBA, and that would rise to the level of an intentional foul. Like let's say a player's dribbling, and the player from behind grabs their wrist and tugs them, right? And we judge that to be not a basketball play, an intentional foul. In high school rules, intentional foul is always 2 free throws, offended player, ball to the team, spot of the foul, right? The fact whether it was bonus or whether they were shooting, right, has no bearing because it's a different kind of foul, right? It's not a common foul like a hand check. The penalty for a common foul when a team in the bonus is bonus free throws. The penalty for an intentional foul when a team is at any point, for an intentional foul is always something different, right? The penalty for a technical foul is always something different. So it depends on the category of foul. So in your instance, if we have, whether or not the team was in the bonus, we're not going to shoot bonus free throws relative to this. It's going to be, we're penalizing the foul, the type of foul that it is. If that makes sense. Let me know if I construed your situation properly. Isaac, what are we referring to? Rolling on the ground? A relative, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that, right? It's all, everything that comes up, right? All of the things that come up, this, that, the other thing, the player on the floor, this, right? We wanted to discuss in our pregame, where we say, oh, let's talk about that in the pregame. But then the game comes around, and we only have a limited time in the pregame. We're going to focus on what's most important, sort of the high level stuff, and then maybe we could drill down to low level stuff, because that's going to lead us back to higher level stuff, right? We could talk about a specific play scenario. Like, let's talk about a seaside drive, right? Primary defender belongs to the calling official, lead pickup secondary defender, or however you're going to officiate. I know some officials working National Federation of High School want to do things a little bit different, but that'll give us a much more bang for our buck than talking about minutia, right? But then we could talk about, hey, I had a play. The player was on the floor, this, that, and the other thing. They were rolling, or they went from side to side, and I ruled that to be legal. What do you guys take on that? And it's like, yeah, so when we have that situation, when we have a held ball situation on the floor, I may come in with a quick whistle, right? Let's be more patient when players are standing, right, and allow things to happen. We can always come late, etc. So we only have so much time in the pregame. Sounds like it's snowy in this country. Boy, oh boy. Gotcha, John. Gotcha. Yeah, so I can't address FIBA rules specifically, but I can say, it's important to recognize what kind of foul it is and assess the penalty for that foul, right? A common foul, when we're not in the bonus, the penalty for that is ball at the spot. Common foul, when we are in the bonus, the penalty for that is bonus free throws. Intentional foul, in any situation, the penalty is 2, unless it's a missed 3, and then it would be 3, etc. So just identifying what kind of foul it is and then going from there is our best pursuit. I cannot speak to that. Why sports? I cannot speak to that well. I know here the associations that I belong to are part of NASA, right? And there is insurance included in that. I just don't have a lot of experience with that. I apologize. Right? So, Patrick, that gets to the question. If you have 16 fouls and we get an intentional foul, do you award the 2 free throws plus the bonus? Right? Again, identifying what kind of foul leads us to the solution. The penalty for an intentional foul is we're going to administer the penalty for the intentional foul. Whether it was the 7th team foul, the 10th team foul, that player's 5th foul, that makes no difference. That's not a factor in the play because we're administering only one. Yeah, so Mike Connor says join NASO and insurance is included. Excellent, thank you. Good morning, Chris Owens. All right. I see. Yeah, so, I mean, what I would suggest on pre-games is going high level to start, right? How are we going to work as a crew, right? That's most important. And start, if we have any information about the teams, right? What kind of style of play, what we can expect, right? This team always presses, right? So what are we going to do as a crew? How are we going to handle the press, right? Just sort of the basic meat and potatoes. Talk about the, how, my feeling about rotations, right? If the team is sitting in a zone and the other team is just moving the ball side to side, we're going to have less rotations, right? But if we get post play, like this team has a post player, we are going to key off of that and rotate so that we have the open look on that post matchup, right? That's going to drive our mix, right? And so we can, And that's how we're going to work as a crew. And then we have a good strategy of that. And then we can start drilling down to points of emphasis this year are this, that, and the other thing. How have you, have you had a lot of screening calls in your game? Right, let's get screening early. First half, it's right in front of the defensive coach. If there's a bad screen, he or she is going to see that bad screen. We have to see that as well. Let's clean the game up, right? Perimeter stuff, etc. So we're going high level down. And if we have, if we're in our 45th minute, we can talk about, hey, this play I had was this, that, and the other thing, and get into minutia. Why Sports here in California, we do the separate meetings. Actually, we haven't been doing them in this health and safety protocol era, but my pregame with captains is always extremely brief, recognizing that it is a formality we have. You are leaders of your team, sportsmanship at all times. Try to let them convey to them that we are here to. That's sort of like the thing. It's like I want to convey to these players, we are here to work their ball game. This is their game. We are here to work it. We are going to work hard for the game and for them, right? You are leaders of your team, sportsmanship at all times, right? White shirts talk to white, black shirts talk to black, no crosstalk, right? Have a great game, right? I may show, if we're up like in a playoff game, etc., right? Show your leadership, show poise, lead your team, right? And we'll have a great ball game. Something like that, just expression of that. We're not talking about black line all the way around and minutia, right? And I will also go in if my partner is conducting that pregame meeting and I'm one of the umpires. I will say I have nothing to add. We don't, partner, you have anything, right? Let's just keep it simple. Let them know we're here to work the game for them and move forward. Yeah. Right, so Paul, let's say you have a doubleheader. I've got a girls' varsity game, and then I have the boys' varsity game after. I got a JV game and a varsity game, right? We got a nice pregame for the JV game, and then for the varsity game, maybe my two partners are waiting for me, and I come off, and you need to have the elevator pregame, right? It's just like, for whatever reason, we have no time, right? Just some basic understanding, and then we may have, like Paul says, a five-minute pregame, a 10-minute pregame, a 15, a 20, and for my last NCAA women's game, we had like a 1 hour, so we had 45 minutes to discuss, and we could talk about concepts and things. And one of my officials, one of my partners, works D1, and she was talking, has just started D1, and has worked a couple of games. And so my question was, okay, so your D1 official led that pregame. What's different about their pregame from the pregames you have at the JC level, right? And she talked about some high level stuff and what they were focused on, et cetera, right? And that can add real value to the pregame as well. So I felt very fortunate that we have that. Patrick, no, I do not use a specific pregame card, but any pregame card is just going to launch you forward, right? Because it's like a menu at a restaurant. I don't want everything on the menu, but I do want that. I want an appetizer or two, and then I want a salad, and I want a meal, and I want a dessert, right? So we can pick things out and talk about those things, because those things invariably lead to other things. And we can always talk about a specific situation, and then we can broaden it out so that we, could take, concepts with us, how we're going to work this game as a crew. Oh, mercy. Well, that's a lot of yammering. It's 7:40. Oy, oy, oy. Let's take a look at the rundown. Oh, that's too small. Huh. Well, we're going to go with it. Every Wednesday, basketball rules expert. I'm really excited. I've got that show dialed down. This show, not so much. And every Friday, 5 Play Friday, we look at plays Glad everybody could join us today. If you are new, jump in the chat. Let me know you or your name and where you officiate from. I'd be pleased to meet you. I'm Greg Austin with A Better Official. And yeah. If you have a comment or question about these plays, you will have comments and questions about these plays we have coming up on today's show. I got to figure out how to make that bigger. Interesting. Put it there. Hey, Ed from New York City. The Bard. Excellent. Good to see you. Thanks for joining the show. Okay. I want to be here. I want to be here. We love looking at plays. Let's do it today. Stick around. Greetings and welcome back to another episode of 5 Play Friday, the show where we take a look at plays, look at all of the things, analyze game video, positioning of the crew, events that happen on the court, correct officials making the correct call, communication strategies, etc., all of the things so that we can get better. We're extracting the positive. We're identifying the negative and seeing how that relates to our game. Like, yeah, I do that as well. Right? So we want to get better as basketball officials always. Second. Let me call an audible here. Not sure how to deal with this, but we'll do that. Greetings again, everybody. My name is Greg Austin with A Better Official. We craft video to help basketball officials get better and take control of their officiating career. Allow me a moment to thank our tremendous show supporters who fuel our broadcast. Janice Brown, Jeff Jewett, Gary Mouton, Ashton Dillon, and Richard Hill. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show, you can always buy us a coffee. I'll put a link above and in the show notes below. All right, today we are looking at viewer-submitted plays, right? If you want to submit a play, you can always send it to a link in the show notes, abetterofficial.com/submitplays. It's on the screen here as well. And we can take a look at your game video, add it to the show, right? Make the show better. Join in. Appreciate that. And with that, I'm going to pause for a second. Make sure I'm here. I'm here. I think we're ready to go. All right, let's take a look at our very first play. That. All right. All right, block charge play under the basket. Let me just make sure yeah, block charge play under the basket. Let's go over here. Get out of the way, ref. What do we have on this play, right? So a lot of, energy from outside of the game, from the stakeholders in the game. You can't take a charge under the basket, right? Because at other levels, there's a restricted area that prevents this. But fundamentally, that does not exist in National Federation of High School Basketball rules. It does exist in Minnesota, but not in National Federation of High School Basketball rules. So, get out the way, ref. Let's first of all judge the legality of the defender and then the subsequent actions on the play, right? There's a lot going on here on this play, and we need to, first of all, identify all of the things, and then we're going to look at the habits and fundamentals of the officials. Right, so we got a player who does a chin-up on the bar, subsequent clapping between the two players involved. This defender is legal by rule. We have a pull-ups, right, where the player pulls up, right? This is a technical foul almost always. Now, if there was a player who was running in underneath him and he's, pulling up in an effort to avoid that player who was, like at his legs, etc., sometimes that can happen. That may be something different. And then afterward, we've got the clapping point, basically a directional vocalization as well on the play. I'm going to go there. Right? Our calling official seems to do a pretty good job at the spot of the foul, right? Notice that they put their hand up in a fashion that potentially obscures. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, right? But they are not maybe as open to the play as they could be. So this is a charge. We should have a player technical here. And we certainly have to address this situation between the two players, right? The offending player on that, right? Let's go there. So there's a lot in this play. If we look at the center official here, right? Because when we analyze our game video, we're always looking at habits and fundamentals, right? We didn't see something. We didn't perceive something. Why didn't we perceive? Almost always it's going to be because we're not in the best position to perceive those situations, right? So let's watch our center official here. And their initial reaction is to disconnect and turn. Head stayed back for a moment, but they're not, right? What we want here is, right, we have a call, is freeze vision right here, right? And be aware of all the things, right? That's what we want. That's almost the key takeaway here on this play. So a block charge play to get us started. We have the situation where the player is literally, almost literally under the basket, right? And this becomes a thing. Like you will work with partners who will say, no way I'm calling that a charge, right? Players can't stand under the basket. We got to realize that we have our rule set, right? Our rule set says that player can absolutely set up to take a charge there. So this is a charge by rule. If you want to manage your way out of that, et cetera, and we have to be aware that energy will come from the stakeholders in the game. The offended coach on this play is going to say, you cannot call a charge. He was right under the basket, right? Right? Because he just watched that collegiate game where they have the restricted area. And this would be, a block or an RA block in that situation. But it's high school, coach. It's what we've got. It's what we've got. Oy, oy, oy. Right. So I think we're like early second period here as well, because obviously in any situation, the game has occurred to this point, and we're going to have the rest of the game. If we have this situation early in the game, we have to address it. I mean, what's going to happen if we don't? There's going to be more and more and more, and it makes it harder for us as officials, right? So we just have to address this. Even in this situation, if addressing it means, all right, hey, partner, hey, no crosstalk, or we're just going to talk our ways out of the situation. Don't do, the stern warning. Don't do that anymore, etc. That's an option as well. All right. Edward, I'm going to try to get back to that question you have. Ooh. Let's see. Andrew's got a charge, no basket, technical for dunking and holding the rim. Yeah, so what if the ball was already in the basket when the contact occurs? It's pretty close, right? Airborne player, right? Even after they release the ball, even after it's in the goal, if there is a charge on a play, no goal can be scored, right? Important to remember that. Definitely a chin up, right? So like I say, if we had that play, if we had a defender who was sliding in underneath them and they pull up to avoid that player, that's something different, right? Because then they are protecting themselves, and you could certainly get that situation where if I allow myself to swing, I'm going to contact somebody down below, right? But in this instance, it is just part of the movement, right? It's part of the thing that says, I am the strong one. I would definitely go player technical there as well. Chris Owens has an obvious charge and unsporting for the chin up or the subsequent action. John Lamb, yeah, so we've got all the things, and we have a disengaged crew, right? I think that's sort of a key factor on the play. So Mike says, all right, we've got the technical for that, and then the subsequent action, we may have a technical for that. If we did 2 technicals on the same player, they would be disqualified by rule, disqualified to the bench area in high school. Right? To me, the taunting just absolutely has to be addressed here. Right? And it's a two-way street. It's not like, one player is by themselves here. Right. And who knows what has occurred in this game? We may have had a situation where the players there was a lot of crosstalk in this game. Right. If that's it makes our job so much harder if we allow that. Now, we love competition. We love a competitive atmosphere, but we love sportsmanship and, playing within the restrictions that players have. And there are, you always appreciate when a player has the ability to convey the energy of, the same energy, but do it within the guidelines. Unfortunately, we have this sort of AAU culture. You watch an AAU highlight video, right? It's almost like it's implied that if you dunk on somebody, you must then turn to them and, make a statement or mean mug or do something. It's almost implied that is proper behavior, right? And so that carries over into the high school game. It's something we just absolutely have to deal with. Yes. Les says, didn't like the pull-up, didn't need to do that. We could go double foul, double technical. Patrick, we could go double technical here. And why for Steve? Yeah, that's a key takeaway. When we analyze game video, we can say, oh, this crew did these things wrong, right? They should have done this. Their judgment on this was poor, etc., right? What we can extract is just identifying that there was a habit displayed that if I'm the center official on this game, I have to have that subsequent action. I have to have that player hanging on the rim. I have to have the subsequent action between the players. I can't disengage, right, and not officiate the game. Dave's got disengagement. Yeah, yeah. Like maybe the trail is coming to that player and saying, the stern talking to is coming here. The, we have the ability to talk our way out of this situation. I don't think that that is the appropriate action here. Um, we have a long way to go in this game, right? And if we don't address things, we are setting ourselves up for disappointment. Yeah, Jason, the technical foul should have come from the center or lead, right? Our lead, or I'm sorry, center or trail. Our lead here is processing. Those other two officials, right? So let's also note at the position of our trail official. He's got action in the front, in the backcourt. Ball moves to the basket. Not a lot of energy to get to, officiate the play, right? And so we're a bit disengaged because one of the things is if we are far away from a play, then our human nature takes over and we are reluctant to put a whistle from a distance, right? So one of the things we have to transport our body into engagement on the play, right? It does not mean on this play the trail could not have come in with a technical foul for any event, double technicals for the taunting, etc. But we have to note that if we are at a distance, we're going to be reluctant to make a call. I'm not saying I dislike the DQ option, right? It's certainly on the table, or we could have just simply go with one in the situation for either. To me, the most egregious thing here is the taunting that we just have to address. What's the best way to do this, right? We could, it's a two-way street here. An easy solution is double technical, right? I think it would not be a leap to suggest that our dunker here is the star player for the team, right? Not that that's ever a factor in our thinking. All right, tremendous. Yeah, okay. Let me go. No. Right? So, a good block charge play to get us started today. Let's now take a look at play number 2. Right? So, Jason Hayes contributes this play. We have a rebounding situation, players competing for the basketball. And let's go back actually. I think one player actually takes the ball away from the other. A foul is ruled. The players then, during dead ball, go at each other. And we have technical fouls on each of them in this situation. Note we have the visiting coach or an assistant coach, somebody coming onto the court, getting their problem player. Obviously, a situation where a fight may break out, legal, 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 probably escorts them to the bench, which presents a conundrum as well. Our crew gets together and reports what they have, right? And we would need to in that meeting to have decided what is going to happen next, right? Who is the foul on? Was it a player control foul? Was it a defensive foul? What is going to be the adjudication after that? And then we have one official going to one coach and potentially the other official going to another, talk them down, explain the situation, etc. These are all the things we want to look at. Right, so we've got an initial push and then a subsequent retaliatory push. If we had just the initial push, would we have a double technical in that situation? Something to look at on that play. I'll tell you something I really want to highlight here. And Jason says, you know, let me give it to me. Watch the body language of the center official. Right? Blows a whistle and inserts his body into the situation. There's no grabbing of players, pushing of players like with the arms, just using the body to create a space between our two participants in this situation, right? It keeps us safe, it keeps them safe, it keeps us free from liability. Absolutely critical to identify that. Should be our default situation, is to put our body between in a higher energy situation and not use our hands and our, sometimes we'll use our arms like in an extended fashion, but great habit on this play. One that you absolutely want to take and say that I need that habit. I'm going to use that in my game in any similar situation. Right? That's really critical takeaway. And when we analyze game video, what are we doing? Oh, they did this wrong, they did this wrong, they did this wrong, they did this wrong. Right? We're cheating ourselves if we do that. Right? What are the positives? What are the things that, you see how we did that? I want to do that. Right? I want to add that to my game. Take the positive. And when we're analyzing our own game video, right? I'm terrible, I'm terrible, I'm terrible, I'm really bad. Right? No. You got to celebrate your successes. I did this really well. I did this really well. I should have done this here instead of that. I need to improve at that. I've seen that in other plays as well. I need to focus on doing that in that situation. Here's an area for improvement. But you got to celebrate the things that we did well. Come on now. Can't beat ourselves up. All right. So our crew does a good job once our players are sent to the benches. Our crew does a good job of staying open and communicating about the play. This is exactly what we want. We've got to come out of here. The reporting official says that we had some erroneous information, actually reported the wrong number on the foul. But all of the habits and techniques we're displaying here are positive for this. Now we've got that player, right? In this situation, we have this double technical situation. Our players are supposed to stay on the court. Our coach came and got that player, took them to the bench, probably sat them down. Is that the best thing for the game? It absolutely is, right? Is this unauthorized leaving of the court? Or it's a dead ball, right? So I'd say that's our best case scenario to get that player extracted from the game. So that's what we got on this play. I say there's a lot of positives here, right? Maybe we made a mistake with the information that we supplied with the table. We can always fix that, right? Chris Owens says, likes that action by our center official. Isaac, great job by the C. What's Les got to say? Yeah, Mark, we kind of let the players naturally move to their benches as opposed to directing. That's something we could have improved on this play, is directing the players to their benches, ensuring they are going to their benches, ensuring that they are separated completely, right? prior to having that conversation on the court. At the same time, there were really only two players here that were of concern. We didn't have multiple situations, players coming in and addressing opponents, etc. So the tension was really between the two. And once those two were moved, then we really solved 90% of the equation. But as a habit, we would want to display that, ensure that our players are disconnected. Dean Hodges jumping in. Good to see you, Dean. Yeah. Edward says, reinforces that point. But I think, again, the key component here is we had really two combatants. Those were the two that we had to really be concerned about. But again, we want to just have bulletproof fundamentals. In this situation, we make sure the teams go so we do not have to worry then about any interaction between team members. Right. Les referring to the previous play about whether we should have gone two technicals on that player and disqualified them. Depends on the game, what's happened to that point on its own. Yeah. We have a lot of options to deal with that situation. So I just want to address that. All right, Edward, thanks for jumping in. I appreciate it. Have a great day. All right. So Jason was prepared for, getting ripped for mistakes on the play. I think we come out with a great positive, right? If we could just take that from our, anytime you see a contentious situation when officials recognize, right? So we have the center official in this situation recognizing what they have, right? His first instinct was to go with the whistle, right? Because a whistle can be your friend, especially from a distance. That's fine, but then drop the whistle before we get into any players. But it's just a fantastic job of using the body, and it's it's obviously a habit and fundamental, right? And that's a key takeaway. I want that. I want to steal that from the center official on this play and put it into my game, right? Awesome. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. And I'm going to say, let's take a look at play number 3. All right. So there we have our, I think this guy's just got to get out of here, right? So let's take a look at what we have on this play. 2-person officiating. Primary defender. That player carried the basketball right there. That's pretty obvious carry. Goes to the basket. Block shot, body contact, rebound. Foul is ruled. Upgrade. Intentional foul is ruled on the play. Let's go there. Right? So, that player carried the basketball. There's no way that they're going to be able to move the ball from one side to the other like that on that play. That's our obvious miss on the violation, right? On the drive to the basket, right? Players driving, blocked, up top, body contact. The defender certainly moves from A to B on this play if we watch them. Ignored that. Release the try. Official makes the call. Processing, 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 intentional, right? Looks like the defender extended an arm on the player and probably gave them a little shove after the fact on this play. If we get this guy out of the way, maybe we can see a little better. So that's the ruling on the play, right? I'm going to go report that. Penalty for an intentional foul here. We're going to clear the lane. 2 free throws to the offended player. Ball to the team at the spot nearest the foul. We don't have any real communication between the crew here that we could obviously, have some verbal communication. Hey, partner, I have intentional. Let's clear the lane. He'll shoot 2. We'll go end line, throw in right here, right? And everything's sort of time-stamped in advance. Then we can go report. Then we can, process, oh, did I really make the right call there? All the natural stuff. Talk to the coach who thinks, how can you go intentional there for that, right? Because we don't have to think about what's going to happen next because we've worked it out at the spot, right? If we can build that habit in, it gives us a little freedom then to go communicate and not worry about how we're going to resume play and essentially screwing something up there on that. Paul Sullivan appreciating the school name so prominently displayed on the floor. Nice, Chris. Nice, Chris. I appreciate that. That's good stuff. All right. Carrying. Yeah, the carrying violation is obvious. Nate likes the call. Good call, intentional. Mike Connor's not so sure. It's certainly not. It's not like he, swung on arm and hit him in the head or anything like that. It was, it's more subtle. I think what we have is a sort of a, and we're not here really to make a judgment about the play. The official had a really clear look at the play, right, and what have you. Definitely not flagrant. Right. So Nate's saying it's not a play on the ball. It's more like a disgust, a push of a disgust. And of course, the player was off balance, causing them to lose their balance. If that same player was more balanced, right, maybe they don't fall to the floor, and we don't necessarily upgrade to intentional, right? These are all factors in our decision making. Mark has something off ball here. Let's take a look. No. Okay. All right. So ultimately, of course, the ball ends up in the basket on this play. So something we would want to do is wipe that, make sure there's no confusion, that there is no goal scored on this. It was not part of the try. All right. Let's take a look. On the rebound. Right, so that's just a habit in fundamental. We'd want to make sure that there's no goal scored, just to emphasize that fact, or be aware of whether points were put up on the board, etc. So on this play, we have intentional foul. The lead official immediately sort of like starts giving these little signals like, all right, we're going to clear the lane, guys. Right, so there's no confusion there. And we're good to go. Dave likes the connection, the calling official, right? I'd say that's definitely a positive habit on this play. Let's see. Right, a bit stuck at trail, comes in, processing, intentional, spot of the foul, processing, maybe communicating with a partner there, I don't know. No hurry, right? Spot of the, if we've ruled an intentional foul, everything disperses, but we just don't want to be in a hurry to, oh, I have an intentional foul. I'm going to turn and report. Hey, right? No eagerness there. That was good. Ah, so Jason jumps in. It was a two-hand shove. White was down 35 at the time, right? Just brings up the excellent point that when we have a disparity in the score, we're looking for frustration from the team that's being smoked, right? It's natural. If there's any energy from the other team that's, needling that team about, we are kicking your ass, right? Something to that effect. Even if it's just subtle, we just need to have our antennas up, right? We have this score disparity, how we handle things, right? We want to be super aware of any sort of taunting action, and we want to be super aware of any frustration action in the game. Jacob says, looks early. Yeah, so you could say, hey, early on this game, right? So Jason said it's not early on, but early on, right? We don't want to allow things that could potentially escalate, and then later on, we don't want to allow things that are related to frustration or taunting. Or when I say taunting, I mean, you know what I mean, not actual taunting, but intimidation or just a recognition of we have beaten you and we've beaten you badly. Yeah, yeah, I like it. All right. Yeah, on its merits, Mike doesn't like it as intentional with the information that Jason says. Right, if it was his perception was two hands on the play, and frustration a factor in the play. Yeah, yeah, that's a super positive demeanor and awareness and processing, right? Because we can always, right? We're in the moment of officiating this play, right? I have a foul. Let's go intentional, right? It was a frustration action, non-basketball play, certainly within the realm of what I can call intentional. I want to make this game better. I want to shepherd this game, right? It has a life cycle. We're towards the end of that cycle. I want to shepherd this game into its conclusion without any further incident. I don't want to allow anything that can cause any sort of escalation here once the result of the game has been determined. Love it. Love it. Yeah, Les says everybody liked that video, baby. Oh, awesome. Cool. All right. That was play number three. That was play number three. Let's look now. No, no, no. I'm super excited about Basketball Rules Expert. I really did a lot of work, tidied it up. Think we're going to have a seamless flow. I haven't had a chance to bring that to this show yet, but here we are. Let's look at play number 4. right. Yeah, get out of the way, Rev. Right, so Jason has another play here. Player control foul, right? So a couple of years ago, a point of emphasis for National Federation of High School was elbow contact above the head, right? And it was encouraged that it has to be at minimum an intentional foul, a possible flagrant, etc. There has since been clarification with case play that we can have, when in this situation, we can have 4 possible outcomes. 1, no call. 2, player control foul. 3, intentional foul. 4, flagrant foul. Those are the 4 options on the table. Our official here at New Trail, right, identifies that this player has established their elbows in a legal position, but moves the elbow into an opponent, right? It actually catches, I think, sort of the fleshy part, and that's always a bit of a factor in our thinking about these plays, right? Fleshy part is an inconvenience. Bony part is possible cut, right? And, you know, more severe action. Right, so the initial action was to, you know, and his coach is going to say, that's exactly what I trained him to do, right? He got his elbows up, but he turns. We have a player control foul. We've got spot of the foul mechanics by our calling official. And then our crew, then we have a bit of Keystone Cops going on, right? There's uncertainty about where we're supposed to be, etc. That can happen. Our mechanics in this situation are not, we don't get into this situation frequently. Let's put it that way. Right? Spot of the foul mechanics, right? Very strong. We get the initial, what do we have, a punch? Do we have a punch? No, not the punch. We've got the foul, punch or point, and then the up to the head all works really well. Right? Again, a little bit of processing time, right? We have a foul, a little bit of processing time. Player control foul is the ruling. I agree with that ruling. We are midway through the second period. Team fouls 9 and 4. If we go with player control foul here for, you know, it's simply a ball to the opponent at the spot nearest the foul. All right. So, a lot of positives to take on this. Our crew ends up a little distracted, and we're filling in. Of course, we're the only ones who know about mechanics, right? So we always have the opportunity to fill in if we have uncertainty. Calling official ends up explaining to the coach, right? Notice our body position. We're talking to the coach over the shoulder, right? Which is a great way to communicate in this situation. Coach is like, I trained him to do that. I told him, he's finally doing it, etc. That's what we have on that play. Yes, John Lamb, elbows rotating approximately the same speed as the torso. Absolutely. That's the key thing to the equation, right? This is not the, right, get off me. And it wasn't a get off me. It was, I'm here and I turn and your head is there. It's a thing, right? So, who wants to upgrade this to intentional? Let's take a look. Mike referred to the previous conversation, passive taunting. Jacob, I'll answer that question in a minute. How about that? Okay, Joe, that's probably a reference to our first play. Sometimes people jump into the chat on delay. Oh, our table has... I don't see anything at the table. Our reporting. Player control. Okay, got it. Got it. Sorry. Mike has it exact. Contact is actually with that fleshy part on the back of the arm, right? And that is a factor in our decision making. Definitely. Well, I'll tell you what, Wise Sports, the change, it's a tough change. If you have built into your game the punch, this is a tough change, right? For me, I'm always punch on the floor and report and proper mechanics when reporting, um, and let's say the slow process for me. Phil, you're asking about where in the rule book does it say to upgrade. We can always make a judgment about a play. Just because we blow our whistle and raise our fist does not mean we have taken upgrade intentional or flagrant off of the table, right? We are giving, sometimes we are going to get information as a crew, right? The calling official has an elbow, has a foul on a play, but a partner comes in and says, that was excessive contact. We had that in just a couple of episodes ago, where there was something on that play that I saw that rises to the level of intentional foul. Right? That's always on the table for the crew, the ability to upgrade or the official to put a foul on the play, process, and then say, here's my ruling on this play. That's an intentional foul by rule. That's a flagrant foul by rule, etc. That's always our availability to do that. Yes, if Gerald Zooch, rather, if Billy Mack was here, he could give us our list of 3 case plays. So National Federation of High School has clarified that player control is an option in this situation where a player pivots and there is elbow or arm contact in this fashion. Key component on this play, player making a natural pivot, right? We always have to recognize that as opposed to an unnatural swinging of the arms, right? If their torso stays static and arm swing, then we have something different, right? But we're always going to judge the severity of the contact. Yeah, cool. No, I'm going to be able to refine this nicely. All right, let's look now at play number 5.
Offense, defense.
Wow. Wow. So, submitted by Brett Temple, this play. Game deciding situation, right? So, let's start by recognizing time and score. We're probably coming out of a timeout, 23 seconds left. Visitors down by 2. Bonus situation, both sides, right? If we're going into this end of game situation, we are doing all of the things. We have knowledge about all of the things, right? We're going to know the impact of our whistle on the game. Throw in on the end line, right? Notice that the camera angle is super tight. As officials, we're like eager for more information off screen, like what's happening off ball, right? Right, clock's winding down, right? And here we are right here, right? Right, we know the game is, this is the game, right? We want to be at our best right here. Why don't you get out the way, ref? Block charge play, boom, charge, right? Emphatic, conviction, etc. 1.3 remaining. We have made the call at the key moment of the game. We need to judge the legality of our defender here. Right? This defender is coming from a long distance. If we notice, our lead is focused on the ball handler here. It's always a challenge in this situation when we've got that player potentially in our primary in a 2-person game, that defender from behind. I need to be able to see what happens from that defender from behind, but I have to transfer my eyes and pick up that next defender. And that's challenging. It's something we constantly working on. I know for me personally, this season, at the start of the season, that's one of those things, the transferring of the eyes, a little out of shape, right? On this play, defender slides over. Charge is ruled. Spot of the foul, strong, etc. Let's take a look at that defender and talk about the legality. That's obviously the key thing on this play. In order to be legal on this play, our defender has to be established on the floor prior to the player going airborne. This player does not have legal guarding position at this point. Right? That right foot. Here, let's do it on the slow-mo portion. It's really about that right foot getting down. Is the player airborne when the right foot comes down? Boy, jeez Louise, that is as close as possible. As close as possible, right? And then after the right foot is down, then the body continues to move over, etc. We are obviously thinking time and score here. There are so many variables on the table. This, it's a full house, big game. This is where you want to be. This is where you want to be your best, etc. But the ruling on the play is charge. One thing I will say, I love the demeanor of the official prior to the call, right? The body position is fantastic, relaxed, in a position to make judgments, processing, making a decision, right? That's all we can do in that situation. All right, Brett, thanks for submitting that play. That's a good one. It's a close one. It's a banger. Lots going on, lots to think about in this situation. Let's put it that way. Patrick's going block. That's the first reaction. Nate thinks it should have been an and one. Three positions, we would be in a much better position because then the primary ball handler responsibility for the lead would not be there, right? Calvin should have been a no call, Woo! Mike Connors has a block. Joshua, time and distance. Joshua, good to see you. Thanks for jumping in the chat. Time and distance on a ball handler are not a factor. We can establish legal guarding position in an instant, which what this player would have to do to get that right foot down in an instant. And correct me if I'm wrong, was this clip not a breakdown of this play not done by Deep Dive Ref? I think there was this when this play got submitted by Brett. It was like, man, that looks really familiar. But in my recollection is there was a breakdown by Deep Dive Ref. If I can find it on YouTube, I will put a link down in the description below. Right. LL says still moving into LGP, right? So the challenge here I think he's late. I think the right foot, even if we're saying making a judgment of a right foot, I think it's late. I think this is a block. That's my opinion on this play. Now, my opinion also is this team is down by 2. That's also my opinion. I'm going to leave that there. Dave's got a block and 1. Dave, I don't think that's a factor here. You know, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I never, personally, I never feel influenced by the dynamic of the home. At least I will not, I have not recognized that. But at the same time, obviously, all of the things that have occurred, all of the things about the atmosphere, all of the things about the environment are going to affect us because we are human beings. Human beings are affected by things, right? Sometimes they don't realize they're affected. You know, I think there's statistical, NBA statistical analysis says the home team, the visitors have more fouls called against them in the NBA. Why? You know, why would that be? Well, it could be because, or it could be because, yeah, you know. Mark says definitely needs a whistle. He's going block, right? So a lot of people jumping in, talking about the time and distance. Not a factor on this play. This defender could establish legal guarding position in a fraction of a second, in an instant, right? When you're guarding a player with the ball, you can establish legal guarding position in an instant. And that's what makes it so challenging when that player is about to leave the floor, right? It's hard, man. It's hard. Will say we know that our officials are in great position. Whether or not they transferred their eyes quickly enough on the play is a factor here, right? But they are in great position to see this play. And of course, that's what we want to do. If we're looking at all of the things, right? If I'm the lead on this play, here's what I'm looking at. I was looking at the right thing here. I ended up looking at the right thing here. I don't think I picked up that secondary defender soon enough. The transferring of the eyes is the weak link in the entire process. I put myself in great position. I had great awareness on the ball handler going to the basket. I was aware of time, etc. But the failure here, I think, is picking up that defender timely. If we had, I think we may have a different call on this play. Maybe not. Maybe not. But that's my takeaway when I'm analyzing the game video. If I'm analyzing my game video and this play occurs at lead, that is my takeaway on this play. That I need to do a better job of transferring my eyes, right? And we get practice at it all the time, especially in two-person, right? Les O'Connor, have a great day, Les. Really appreciate you jumping in, and enjoy all games between now and when we see you again. Maybe. Maybe. Motown. Excellent. Excellent. Good. Appreciate you jumping on and putting your voice in the game. I agree with you, Motown 302. I agree with you. All right. So that's a banger. That's a game deciding call. It's the environment seems super intense. It's fantastic. It's where we want to be. We want to be as officials making that call and feeling confident in our call and getting the call right. Right? If we're a lower level official, we're working up towards being a higher level official. If we're a higher level official, we're working up to working the big games, the important games, the playoff games, the state finals, all the things, right? And we need that ability to do that, do it with confidence, conviction, etc. We look at our game video, we make a decision. I think I got the call right. I think I got the call wrong. Here's why. Here's the factors that led to that, etc. I'm going to take that. I'm going to get better, keep getting better, keep improving, a constant cycle of improvement going forward. And I appreciate that play being submitted. And now we're going to move to a bonus play from Mike Connors. Let's take a look. Oh boy, that is hilarious. It's hilarious every time I see it. Right? You first watch the play, you're looking for something at the basket, something comes flying onto the court. What is it? All right. So that's super fun. A super fun play. Oh boy. Right. Now obviously we have a dead ball situation, right? Do we? The ball go in? Right, dead ball situation. The game is interrupted, right? That's got to be something, right? This is just, the kids can run on the floor, a ball can come in from a player standing for the next game, ready to come in. Stuff happens in the game. This is obviously inadvertent. If this was a player throwing, a coach throwing a shoe in disgust, it would be something different. But it's one of the things that happens in the game. It's a lot of fun when things like this happen, and it's a funny moment, especially if we perceive it. It's easy to see on video. If we're the lead official here, we might not have any idea how that shoe got on the court. I think our trail official has a look at the play. But one more time, let's take a look. She's into it. Yeah, baby. Whoop. And of course, the player's reaction when they're is hilarious as well. All right. Thanks, Mike, for submitting that. Gave me a laugh and really put a bow on it. Put a bow on the episode. Okay. Yeah, like squirrel. Shoo! Jacob's puzzling over the fact that there's bleachers. Maybe the bleachers go. Who knows? It's one of the mysteries. Referring to that previous play of legal guarding position. Let's see. Yes, obviously, in that block charge play previously, our defender was attempting to establish legal guarding position. Again, something that can happen in an instant. Right, and obviously time and distance are factors when guarding an opponent without the ball, right? Time and distance are relevant. Time and distance is relevant when screening a moving opponent. But, a key takeaway in terms of understanding legal guarding position on a player handling the ball is that it can be established in an instant, right? The player receives the ball, they are holding the ball, the defender establishes legal guarding position, and in a fraction of a second, even though it's like instantaneous, ba-boom, right? And there's contact. That defender had established legal guarding position. I'm not saying that's what happened on that play, but that's the way legal guarding position works when defending a player with the ball. Sometimes it can really be bang, bang, and that's why we get paid the big bucks. That is why we get paid the big bucks. Man, we got to get out of here. Oh, 8:48. Whew, I got a full day of activity ahead of me. I have a scene here called Out of Plays. Because we are out of plays. I had a few more in the hopper, but again, our curation process, try to, like with this video with the shoe, you have to add effects to sort of zoom in on the player or on the team member who kicked the shoe. So it's something we do. It's something that takes a little time, and sometimes time gets away from us. It does. I'm going to go here. No, not going to go there. Give me a second. Something like that. All right. And I'll go. Yay. All right. Thanks for joining us today for 5 Play Friday. Much appreciated. Allow me a moment to thank. I'm in the wrong place. Hold on. I see. All right. Thanks for joining us today for 5 Play Friday. Appreciate you sticking around to the end of the video. Now would be a great time, if this is the video content that you find valuable, to do all of the things, to hit the like and subscribe and notify so you don't miss out on any of our new content. We live stream twice a week, every Wednesday and Friday. Join the live stream, jump in the chat, put your voice in the game so we can all get better together. Do allow me a moment to thank our tremendous show supporters: Janice Brown, Jeff Jewett, Gary Mouton, Ashton Dillon, and Richard Hill. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show? You know you can buy us a coffee. I'll put a link up above and a link in the show notes below. Awesome. Give me a second. Hey, we've got additional video content. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that one in post. I tried to borrow that one from my different show. Ay. It's a mess. Post game. Yeah, I don't have any additional plays today. I apologize for that. Thanks for joining, Dean. I appreciate you. LL, awesome. Yes, I am. Yes, okay. Well, we'll see you next Friday, Zooch. Make it a great one. Hope everybody has fantastic games. And make it a great weekend. And we'll see you next week. Have a great one. Take care, everybody.